Customer reviews and user-generated content are very strong signals when it comes to building trust between your brand and your website visitors. But have you ever wondered, is it possible to measure the strength of this signal and the impact that it makes on the purchase decision of the visitors who interact with the reviews? This is where Littledata and Okendo come together, because Okendo will provide your visitors with the ability to upload but also see what other people say about the products, and Littledata measures every event from the PDP to the purchase, including add to carts, add shipping info, payment info, begin checkout, or any other Shopify server-side event. And in this video, we will show you how to measure this impact yourself on your own website. I don't want to jump too fast ahead of the gun, but I'm going to tell you that the results are pretty impressive. Let's go to the GA4 user interface, where I'm going to show you in the exploration section how to measure the impact of your Okendo reviews. First, we're going to start off by building a segment. We want to build a user segment, and we want to include everybody who interacted with Okendo reviews, meaning that the condition is going to be event name contains Okendo at any point in time. Why is this important? Because we want to understand how do people who ever saw any of the reviews or they watched user-generated video, how do they perform overall? Once you have this segment created, we want to put them head-to-head against all the other users. For this particular brand, you see that user key event rate is almost twice as high for those who interacted with Okendo, and I'm pretty sure for your own brand is going to be a pretty huge difference. Average purchase revenue, which is the average order value in the GA4 language, is not significantly different, but the average revenue per user is again almost 100% higher for users who interacted with Okendo. As a matter of fact, is more than 100 because 2.92 versus 1.41, but you get the point. Now let's take a look at the users who saw any PDP. Again, if you are having trouble how to create this segment of users, there's a whole dedicated article on Help Center Littledata, where you will see how to create segments, and also there is a pretty comprehensive guide for explorations as such in GA4. So now we're not going to go into these details, but we're simply putting head-to-head those users who saw any PDP against users who interacted with Okendo at any point in time, hence this strange abbreviation here. So practically PDP view turns into add to cart and into purchase, but when we compare these two groups of people, not only they add to cart 16.8 versus 13.5, so maybe 20% more, but they proceed to purchase almost 50% more in case of people who interacted with an Okendo review, because they built trust and they are pretty sure that their purchase is gonna be something meaningful and overall good to them. When we take a look from the session perspective, so now we are not analyzing users as such, we are focusing our lens on the sessions themselves. So we are talking about sessions with Okendo events, and all sessions. Obviously the engagement time is going to be way higher for those who interact with the reviews because they're practically more engaged. But the metric that blew me away is the first time purchaser per new user, meaning that for every new user who come to your website and interact with a review, they are more than twice as likely to buy versus those they don't do that when it comes to making their first purchase on your website. So having Okendo reviews make a new user brought by any of your channels. Obviously we can break down these by channel just by adding a dimension here for the session channel and then seeing how does it affect each individual channel. But overall, they are twice as likely to buy when they interact with the review versus when they do not do that. In the end, I wanted to introduce a calculated metric. I'm not going to show you here how to make them. They are made in the admin section, and you can read in the accompanying blog post how to create this calculated metric, but we are practically dividing number of add to carts by number of sessions. And if you see here, this doesn't look like a big of a difference, but have in mind that this is 25% difference, meaning that you get 25% more add to carts when people interact with the review versus when they don't. So to conclude this video, I want to underline that having all the PDP to purchase events measured, which gets done by Littledata. We're talking about add to carts, add shipping info, payment info, begin checkout, and all these, Shopify server-side events. You are making sure that you are measuring 100% of the performance of your website. And when it comes to measuring Okendo reviews impact, that's crucial, because if you were tracking 80%, 75% of the purchases, you wouldn't be able to understand, do these reviews actually make a difference or not? Using this recipe, you now have a framework for quantifying the impact of these user-generated reviews, videos, photos, and stuff, and you will be able to make data-driven decisions and improve your Shopify store performance. The key insight that Okendo provides value on its own, but Littledata multiplies that value by ensuring measurement, complete tracking, and complete following the process of purchasing, and then adding that ingredient back into measuring the quality of your reviews.